Welcome back to Almost Above Average. I'm Chris McIntyre, and today Jonathan Travis and I are diving into the biggest stories shaping our world. U.S. airstrikes on Iran, the evolving face of warfare in the age of AI, and the heated debate over immigration and border enforcement. We'll break down what these headlines really mean for America's future, and the ethical and political stakes, and how technology and climate change are rewriting the rules. If you care about where our country is headed, you're in the right place. But before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment wherever you're listening. Share this episode with a loved one who needs to hear this story, and we want your thoughts. Send your feedback to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com with the subject feedback. Now let's get started. All right, welcome back to Almost Above Average. I'm Chris McIntyre, and today we're staring down a three-headline-grabbing crisis. The U.S. has just launched major airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites, sending shockwaves through the Middle East and putting American troops on high alert. Here at home, a relentless heat wave is scorching huge swaths of the country, pushing our power grids and emergency services to the brink, and the viral Border Patrol crackdown has reignited the immigration debate, sparking outrage and protests nationwide. So let's jump in. Topic number one, the U.S. airstrikes on Iran. These strikes on nuclear facilities, what do you think this means for America's security and our standing on the world stage?
I think did you see the strike at the U.S. Air Base in Qatar?
I kind of got just some rudimental reports from passing by my father-in-law.
Iran fired 14, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, 14-ish missiles at us. We took down 13 of them, and the other hit somewhere else. It wasn't a big deal. No casualties, no personnel injuries, and minimal to no damage.
They didn't damage anything with their missiles?
He said minimal damage, but if they shot down the missiles, I don't know what damage there would be, so I don't know. But Trump also said, oh, hey, now that you got it out of your system, let's negotiate. So...
Makes sense, right? Like we threw a punch, they throw a punch, and it's like, all right, what we're gonna do to you.
But reports are coming out more and more that the uranium that Trump and co said we blew up may have not blown up. They may have moved it already. That act of aggression may have done absolutely nothing other than put us in a real bad situation, because now they're calling for Iranians on U.S. soil to create terrorist attacks on U.S. soil. So it's like, did we get anything out of this? It doesn't look like it.
In my opinion, and just on the reports, the little videos that I've watched today, it looks like we did a thing just to tell the world, hey, we did a thing.
Well, like I mentioned in the other thing, so let's line up the whole timeline on Iran with Trump. Trump hates Iran. Just being honest. I don't know if he doesn't like the regime. They talked about small penises. I don't know. But something happened and he got really mad at him. Something happened. Then he told people that Iran was trying to kill him. I can't remember if it's the FBI or CIA or DH. One of our agencies actually stopped an assassination attempt by Iranian agents on Trump.
An Iranian government-sanctioned assassination attempt?
I don't know if it's government-sanctioned. It sounds like it, but we don't know. I don't have the specifics enough. I just know that some number of Iranians did attempt to assassinate him prior to the election. So that's just all I know about it. Feel free to Google.
Was that the first election or this one?
This one.
Okay.
This one specifically.
Right.
And then he basically got elected, and the rumor is that he told the military, you have a standing order. If anything happens to me, it looks like Iran did, nuke them or hit them. I know the discussion of nuke has come up based on what I've read. I know that he promised a 2-week minimum 2 weeks to review it. And then within, 24 or 48 hours, he ordered the attack. I know that we staged stuff in Guam, which I don't know why we staged it in Guam, but whatever. I know personally that I saw military troops talking about getting ready to deploy to Guam before they get redeployed, and they didn't go into the specifics on that. They were talking about how they're going to get set up for their trip. So the things that linger in my head is Iran done? Like, did they feel like they saved face by trying to attack our base? And if you look back at it, Israel and Iran traded blows a few times, and then they settled down for a little bit, even though they didn't really do a substantial amount of damage, but they did some.
To the, what, like our armored vehicles or something?
No, not us. Iran hit Israel. Israel hit Iran hard.
Right.
And then they settled down for like a hot second. But if I remember correctly, it was because, I can't remember which group it was, but there was a insurgency group preparing to make an invasion into Israel from Iran, and They had hundreds of people ready to do some massive coordinated attack on Israel. Israel sent in their team, their forces. They got to the Iranian border. The Iranian forces just turned around and left, is my understanding. It was like hey, we're here, but we're going to let you clean up our mess. And I can't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't Hamas. Was it Hamas? I don't know. Whatever. One of those. Hezbollah? Anyway,
Hezbollah and Hamas.
It was one of those. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
Feel free to fact check me, people. And then they went in and hit a bunch of targets and took out, and they found plans of all these different attacks that were days away from being executed. They did that. And then it seemed like everything got quiet again. And then this all started. And then I was wrong. It wasn't Nomi. It was Bondi. Bondi told Trump they're nowhere near ready to make a nuclear weapon. IAEA told him they were nowhere ready to make a nuclear weapon. There is no intelligence that I've heard from anywhere that said they were ready to make weapons. So for him,
his source.
Yeah, that's really great when there's homegrown terrorist attacks on U.S. soil killing American citizens. That's really great.
Trust me, bro.
That's facetious, everybody. I don't want any loss of life, period. Anyway, so there was no documentation I'm aware of. The Hedgepath was directly asked about this at a press conference and basically didn't speak to it at all. He just said, trust Trump, and that's all he said. So He didn't even say that there was any evidence that it was going to happen. Just trust Trump. He's the most knowledgeable, whatever. He's the super smart guy. He does the best, right? So None of his people have clarified that there was anything worth doing. The people have actually said the opposite. International agencies said the opposite. And we told them we were going to do something, and then we hit them. And then they hit us back. So I don't know.
What do you think about how J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Hegseth are talking about this attack? They are saying the things that I saw this morning. They are saying, no, we're not at war with Iran. I don't like the way that they're speaking about it. Like, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. Like, you can't cherry pick like that.
Actually, according to some of the stuff I read today, that is actually a thing.
That doesn't make no sense.
Congress
make that make sense. Does that make sense to any of the listeners? That make that make sense to me. We're not at war with Iran. We're at war with their nuclear program. Tell me how that makes sense in the comments.
They didn't hit civilians and they didn't hit military targets. They only hit the one place, and they basically let them know it happened.
That's like lighting a match in a gasoline gas station, I
mean, I was reading something, and they were paralleling this to other events that have happened to other presidents. Now, the way it was described was, and this is the way it was described, this is not me saying it. It used to be for any attack on a foreign nation like this, Congress had to get information, they had to approve it, and then it could happen. And then over the year, Congress has allowed more and more direct military action without the approval of Congress. But this is pretty extreme, all things considered. But there is language in the laws that they use that said if there's an imminent threat from a foreign potential enemy adversary, the president has the law on his side to do something like this. So
this is Iraq all over again. He's making up shit.
Weapons of mass destruction, right? So, and I mean, it's like literally the same thing.
Right. And he was so against it. Remember how against the Iraq war Trump was?
If you remember, there was no weapons of mass destruction then.
Right.
Everybody's saying there's none now.
So. His own DNI, Director of National Intelligence, gave him an official report saying there was not. And he's like, I don't give a shit what she says. She's a fucking idiot. You hired her.
Apparently, she got left out of the briefing. She's basically
Hegseth too.
They're like House. Like Hegseth didn't know about it until like right before it's happening or something. Like there's a whole bunch of rumors going on around that.
It looks like children. Like these are freaking children.
Well, when you elect a clown, you get a clown card.
Amen.
But if Congress can impeach him on this, if they find that there was no imminent threat. So if the reports from Bonnie and the world agencies, the other security groups say there was no imminent risk, and I've been seeing today more and more rhetoric coming out of the Republican side of the aisle saying, yeah, we actually think we have to support. We're going to impeach him now. Articles have been filed. Numerous Republicans and Democrats are all lining up like this might actually happen. Now, remember,
that was today. I saw it briefly on a live.
Now, this is not...
So who introduced the articles? I don't know anything about this. So this is breaking news.
Wasn't it AOC or somebody like that?
No, there was something happening today.
Audience, audience, post a link down below to the article that has the information on this.
Yeah.
I don't have this. Honestly, so much is happening so fast. It's hard. I'm like trying to figure out the logistics of it, less who and who. But anyway, keep us straight, people. Now,
hit subscribe.
Are you familiar at all with the Nixon impeachment?
No.
So they did something there, and it parallels to now. When they went to go impeach Nixon, they had to get the VP first, because if they didn't, then the VP would become president if the president goes out, right?
Right.
So the question is Vance worth delaying and that's the scary part, is people that feel like they're in the know about how Project 2025 is orchestrated, led, who the connections are to whom, are basically saying J.D. Vance is actually technically worse than Trump when it comes to towing the line of the group that is leading Project 2025.
I could see that. J.D. Vance is an extreme follower.
Well, it's even worse than that. So he was, I don't know if groomed is the right word, but trained or aligned or whatever word you want to use to the person who wrote Project 2025. And he's just the yes man for that guy. So if they out Trump, then Vance becomes president, and then he'll have even better control because that guy actually has his mind together versus Donald Trump. And things could be sneakier. He could talk better. Like, it might be harder for us to see through everything than we do now. Whereas this guy can't keep his fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
So that's all a thing. I think the discussion with Saudi Arabia is a huge red flag. So he did discuss attack plans on Iran with Saudi Arabia. I don't know if it was before the attack or after the attack, but regardless, why the hell is Trump talking to Saudi Arabia instead of Congress about the attacks? I guess it has something to do with that $400 million plan or the $1.5 billion investment in his resort, or, I mean, just maybe.
It's pay to play, for sure.
It is pay to play from everything I can see. Or the $2 billion Jared got a couple of years ago after some.
I thought it was like $8 billion, wasn't it, or $4 billion?
It was a $2 billion loan from Saudi Arabia after they came and visited Mar-a-Lago, where the super secret classified documents were held. That multiple people have gone on testimony saying, or affidavits saying, that he did show those plans to people at that party where Saudi Arabians were.
No shit. I'm sure.
Yeah, multiple people, and not like Joe Schmo that was cleaning the toilet. Like, major news reporters internationally have sworn up and down that he was bragging about it and brought it out and took him into a private room and showed him or something like that. So
with all everything that's going on with Iran, do you think we're going into a full-scale war?
Trump doesn't, in my opinion, this is my theory, Trump doesn't want an actual war. So the comment that I had heard from one of the news stations, I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, I think it was yesterday, said Trump likes to be both the arsonist and the firefighter. So if we look at Obama, I believe, signed an agreement with Iran to do stuff in regards to helping them in exchange for them not developing nuclear weapons. And Trump backed out of it. He officially backed out of it. And the information that I saw showed that they directly began trying to build and refine uranium right afterwards. And now, so he pulled out of the deal with Iran because, I don't know, pick a reason. He hated that Obama did it instead of him, or
it was probably something stupid like that. It was a very small reason.
I mean, there is a political cartoon in one of the magazines that says, "What was wrong with the deal? It had Obama's signature on it." It's like, well, I mean, that could be just enough to justify it. It could be that he wanted to set up a conflict and a reason to go do exactly what he just did. I mean, he could have wanted to hit him. And if you look at what's happening, he reached out to China for China to push Iran to keep oil prices low and to keep the Strait open and to continue doing business as usual, even though they just got their teeth kicked in. And if they did have a nuclear weapons program and we did damage it significantly or set them back a significant amount of time or money, then we did kick them in the teeth, then, why would they play ball? And they voted to close the strait. So that's going to make that fun. See what happens. Does Trump want to invade and really take over Iran? I think he thinks he's won. Based on what I'm seeing from his true socials and tweets, he thinks he's won. He thinks he has the advantage, and he thinks he can just man it right off.
How much truth do you think there is to that?
Actually, quite a bit.
Right.
So here's the thing: a lot of people are forgetting, And the technology we have today, and I made this comment about Ukraine versus Russia, and I think both of these are, the point sticks to both. The technology that we have at our disposal today, remote controlled, some unmanned aircraft that can carry heavy weapons, machine guns, missiles, all that kind of stuff that we can deploy and have floating in the sky indefinitely, driving around, tearing shit up that can't be tracked at night, and we can just run it 24/7, refuel it in the air, re-outfit it on friends' countries. Like, our ability to go in and just devastate targets isn't limited to foot soldiers. It isn't limited to bombs dropped by planes, and it isn't limited to tomahawks fired from sea. This is a direct visual confirmation and targeting that we can do. We can launch the planes from the United States, or these drones from the United States, fly them nonstop on autopilot or manned, with people switching out shifts in these specialized bunkers using satellite comms and all that kind of stuff. Fly these drones over there and just wreak havoc. And we've already seen what the UK-based drones are doing. Imagine what happens when our Predators and whatever our next generation is that the American public doesn't know about. Because if the Predator drone is out there and it's been shot down and they've got it, there's 2 more, 3 more in development or even in service right now that we don't know about, because that's how government works. There's at least 3 in the pipeline. One of those may already be out there ready to launch. We just haven't done it yet. Yeah. There's no way our government's not spending billions of dollars on these drones. So let's say we have 30 of these drones. How fast could we sweep Iran and just mow it down if we decided to attack them? What are they going to do?
Pretty quick, right? Iran's not a very big place.
You could probably tear up the whole country in a night.
What's the population of Iran?
Well, how many targets do you have to hit? So you bomb some runways, you hit some towers and bases, tear out some planes. Like, it doesn't take
92 point.
Yeah. So they're not as developed. They don't have the same technology set we do. And we are way over equipped compared to pretty much the rest of the world.
Everyone else.
So everybody else.
There's going to be a time where we always will talk like that as Americans. There's going to be a time where that is not true and we're not going to know it. I hope not.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, China has done some really cool stuff. Like, and I mean cool in a bad way, but it's really neat.
They got some cool new ICBMs. I heard some new missile, Dongfei or something like that.
Do you not remember the weather balloon that they sent across from?
I do remember the weather balloon. Yeah,
that was Chinese government run, and
during the first Trump administration.
Yeah, and
there was a couple of them.
So they got a balloon, an air balloon, into U.S. airspace, and it ran through the country. What if it had been equipped with a nuclear device? What if they had a dozen of these flying equipped, like
floating ever so slowly into our country? Yeah, we undetected.
Sure. So my point is, and this is the point that everybody needs to take home, warfare ain't what it was in World War II. It ain't going to be troops on the ground doing shit like it used to be. It won't necessarily be dogfights like it used to be. Like, the planes that they have now can pull G's better, and we can remote control things. It's not what it was in World War II. It's
you ever take one of these, go down these rabbit holes on Instagram and just watch all the war stuff going on in Ukraine, the stuff in Iran? I'm fascinated by these drone videos that they take these regular drones like I use for work. They outfit them with, a triggering system, and they are a nightmare. They just haunt these soldiers. They just fly around them, and you see these soldiers kind of,
that's what
terrifying, just terrifying.
And OpenAI changed their policy on how their technology could be used. They removed the language around weaponizing it because, Trump and Sam, what's his face, are now buddy or whatever. So if anybody here thinks that we're going to take over a country that's going to be hostile like Russia, or it's going to be really dangerous, we're not going to drop a nuke on them. We're just going to drop 100 of these unmanned, AI-powered, Gatling gun mounted, size of a car robots that are just going to run through town, mowing everything down, Terminator style. Or Predator drones doing it with like what we saw in Terminator and Terminator 2 and Terminator 3. We're pretty much there now, guys. They're remote controlled or AI controlled, but we could build those and deploy them. They're not going to be laser guns. They're going to be bullet based. But if you think we can't deploy that kind of shit or drop stuff, it's crazy. And these bunker busters, remember? During the early Iraq war, we were just starting to understand that, and here we dropped, was it like 7 or 12 of them or something.
Right.
Like they're just confetti now. This is like our first line. It's wild.
Yeah, that bunker buster, we've never really heard of it until we just used it.
No, they talked about it a good bit back during post 9/11 when we were in the Middle East during, was it Desert Shield and Desert Storm or something like that? And we
Have
were
we used it?
trying to use them. I think we tried to use a couple of them.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I could have. I know that we were talking about it because that was a whole thing. Because we were like, well, where's the cave Saddam's hiding? And where's the cave that...
Restart, reset, and refocus as many times as you need. You are your own greatest project. But just always remember, don't give up.
Get 5 stick packs of Bucked Up pre-workout, a super soft flag t-shirt, and the perfect 28 Oz shaker bottle all for just $9.99. Head to buckedup.com and use code McMedia1 at checkout for huge savings on all fitness supplements and gear. Don't miss out on this unbeatable deal to power your workouts and look great doing it.
Osama bin Laden's hiding in. We'll bunker bust them. That was the rhetoric. And I remember that. So we had them back then. I don't know how many we used. I didn't really pay attention to them. But yeah, like the missile systems, the anti-attack systems, all the new laser targeting systems, the laser cannons we have now, the magnetic rail guns. Like we have a gun on a ship that can haul a bullet the size of a Volkswagen Bug. How many miles? And it's electromagnetically pulsed. We have laser cannons that can literally heat up and destroy planes with auto targeting. Lights faster than a bullet. Guess what it can do? And I know they're working on tech right now to shoot missiles out of ground or out of the air with that kind of stuff. And
our Golden Dome, if you will.
Based, yeah, basically. And a new AI, like I've seen videos of AI powered turrets shooting down dummy missiles off the coast of like Maine or something that they were doing targeting testing.
I forgot about the application to war AI. That's going to be nuts.
That's
going to be nuts.
And I know that there are robots with some kind of AI power walking around with weapons in UK right now. Who supplied them? I don't know. And that's why a lot of people are like, well, why is the UK war still going? It's like, because we're getting rid of our old artillery and weapons and we're testing out new shit. It's the best way to test new equipment. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we didn't have one of these anti-missile systems sitting somewhere covertly doing test runs against stuff going on over there, but not actually firing.
Right.
But like testing it. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all. But yeah, my point is like, how hard would it be with everything that we have to just go and completely overrun Iran or with this state of... And here's the problem. Like the reason we are worried about Russia is they still have working nukes, and launching a nuke and taking a nuke down is still very serious business. It is still, while the probability of taking one down is higher than zero, we just don't know because we've never done it. It could be good. It could be bad. Like we don't know. Like how many...
You think we are entering a time in the world where nuclear weapons are going to start being deployed again?
I have multiple different possibilities. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that this is the last vestige before new connectivity, new education, new disbursement of information. It bypasses governments, unites people across the world, and makes these old farts inconsequential. And I'm hoping... And it seems like it might be possible that the reason that we're getting such a massive run against the Constitution right now is a last-ditch effort to protect the sanctity of their leadership and ownership and superiority and power and blah, blah, blah before it's too late. Because when AI really gets going... All right, so what's the biggest thing that I have talked about I'm hoping for my child? AI-powered teachers. What is something that's being worked on right now? AI-powered teachers. And what is being recommended by numerous people out there using AI like ChatGPT and other things to start helping people, kids learn and being supplemented, like have them help with their tests and training, have them teach them stuff. Like the number one recommendation I saw for a child over the summer break is to have them work daily with ChatGPT to work through problems to learn the stuff for the next year. And now that we've got, I don't know if you've seen it, I forget which model it was, but they're creating like actual movies, clips, like multi-minute.
Yeah, they're doing whole movie productions in AI. Yeah, I watched the whole show on all the different shit AI. Have you heard of AI slop?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah. And
yeah, so I watched the whole thing on that today.
The Microsoft AI assistant they showed off last year, it was so realistic. I had trouble telling it wasn't a human, and I work in this field.
Oh, shit.
So the fact that it took 3 of us to figure out the problems with it was unreal. So if they can take something like that, where it has a head and a person similar to us right now, the way we look, and it could use ChatGPT, some personality, and we mix these 3 different technologies together, we could emulate an AI that could teach similar to the way you and I are interacting. So imagine if it was me, and on the screen where you are, there's outlines and visuals and images, because it can generate all that stuff
Yeah,
to help
like
teach
that.
these problems. And like, this is coming. And I'll be honest with you, I really hope somebody gets off the ground. Like, I desperately want that for many reasons.
Yeah.
One, because I'm probably going to take my daughter out of school and get her on that, because the public school system's crashing.
Ditto. I will
want
do
her
the
to have
same
the
thing
best
for my
option.
13-year-old.
That's one. Two, if this is deployable and accessible via VPN or some other technology that allows somebody in Bangladesh or Shanghai, or pick a city on the planet, Russia, to VPN or backdoor through and can get this, it could teach all this different stuff and allow it to disseminate generalized information across the planet. And that's the big thing for me, is I'm trying to figure out, and just out of curiosity more than anything, that threshold at which information becomes so readily available and so easily digestible via the source that's been given it, that the majority of the population will be able to line up with the same level of understanding of our world in a way that unites us instead of divides us. And I think some of it's going to have to come from the safety net measures. And I talked about this somewhere else, is why don't we just end scarcity? We have the technology available now. If the populace has said, screw this, I don't want to fight over food or homes or clothes anymore. Like, we have the ability to have AI controlled food manufacturing and vertical gardens, and we could use it to figure out also, like, the chances of immortality are growing significantly more every day. The cure for every major disease is coming online. There's a new HIV vaccine. There's a new vaccine for this. There's a new glue that stops aging, DNA unraveling for aging.
Don't we pretty much have the cure for AIDS already?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's being tested right now in humans, a vaccine that prevents infection. It's crazy. And there's all these other things that...
There was never a big moment for
change
HIV
DNA.
and AIDS, though. There was never a big moment where they came out with a treatment and then the world celebrated. It kind of just faded into society that, like, we found the cure, we found some really good treatments, and it seems like AIDS kind of disappeared because of treatments, but we never celebrated it.
Well, that's because of a couple of different reasons. One, curing it is a scary word, right? That's a scary phrase.
For an insurance company.
Can you cure a virus like HIV? And the answer was, using just basic medicines, we can get it below detectable levels. So, like, we could take a blood sample, we could find no virus, but that doesn't mean it's not hiding dormant in another section of the body or growing in another section of the body. The idea that you can take a blood sample and guarantee that somebody doesn't have something is ridiculous. But with new technology and new things that are coming up, the ability of the body to be able to figure out how to fight it off, or, you know, a whole host of things that can happen. CRISPR editing can make it where you don't need to worry about it. Like, there are people that get infected that never get affected by it because their genetic structure is different, right? Like, right. The attachment sites on cells are just different. And we are getting to a place where, like, we could just implement some of this stuff. But there is a vaccine coming for that. There's a vaccine for a variety of different things. There's custom-made vaccines. There's new protein stuff. There's all sorts of new things coming out of the woodworks that are really changing what it means to live on this planet. And with all that coming up, longevity will maybe double to triple. Like, we might, like, there's, if anything, let me rephrase that. If some of these things pan out to be true, it's not unreasonable that people could be 300, 400 years old. If you could, because the thing that makes people older is, what theory right now is DNA unraveling. If we stop that, then you stop aging in theory. So now you're talking about injuries and death, and we can repair a lot of that stuff with the stuff that's coming up.
Right.
Like, stuff breaks down like your eyes. Oh, we can grow new ones.
Well, even if AI could make us live longer and cure all these diseases, it's not going to stop Mother Nature and this freaking heat wave that's going on. Have you been outside today?
Yeah. So that, I'll be honest with you, about 3 years ago, I was very concerned about what future my child was going to inherit. But something has happened that has completely changed my point of view. Two things specifically. One, people are adopting electric cars way faster than I thought was going to happen. Sales in many places in the world are so lopsided in favor of EVs, it's crazy. But here in the US, it's becoming more and more common. And with the limitations and the range anxiety and the inability to repair being on the table, I mean, EVs are selling really well. Ford's, if I remember correctly, Ford's number one selling car is their EV Mustang. And Tesla has a huge share, even though their sales are tanking, but that's a whole different issue. If Elon wasn't at Tesla, I bet they'd be doing triple to quadruple the sales.
Yeah, they're doing bad because he fucked up politically.
Right. But if the board ousts him and gets a new CEO, I think a lot of people will be willing to go back and buy cars from them because they're pretty neat cars as a whole. You know, if you look at, go to a Chevy's website, how many of their vehicles are available in EV? I see them all the time now. And what's going to be a real big change is in the next 2 years, the battery technology to the US and electric cars will have double, maybe even triple the range that they do now, with even faster charging windows than they do now. So imagine charging 600-700 miles in the same time it takes you to charge one now, an hour ish. And then you're like, and we have charging stations everywhere. And then the other thing that was really cool is Bill Gates funded the development of a new type of nuclear reactor. Now, it's still a nuclear reactor. It's still a fission-based nuclear reactor. But the big thing about it is it's more efficient, and it can use all the fuel rods that we've already used in the older nuclear reactors. And it can get about the same amount of power out of them. And it reduces the dangerousness of those significantly because it's using up extra of the potency, right? So if they start, as much as I hate the idea of Meta, Apple, OpenAI, and all these guys needing nuclear reactors to power their AI farms. On the other hand, if it becomes commonplace to be able to deploy these and we have these fuel sources, sounds pretty neat. And on the other side of it, there's been, it's like every week I see a new breakthrough in some kind of renewable energy. So it's just a matter of time before that comes along. And all the quantum entanglement stuff is coming along way faster than I was concerned it was going to. So the idea of what technology is today versus what it'll be in, 2 to 3 more years is going to be crazy. And then the other big thing is with AI designing its own chips that are more efficient, and we don't even understand it, and it's going to start changing its own software. We're already on that runaway slide going downhill, and people don't understand it. Like, my fear is that 30% threshold is going to go from like 4 to 30 in the blink of an eye. And for
well, none of that shit matters.
If Google the 30% threshold for unemployment and what it does to capitalism.
Well, none of that matters. We have global warming and it's 130 degrees outside and we all can't go anywhere.
Right. So let's think about that. Global warming comes from basically 2 main sources that we really have to care about. One, vehicles being powered. Right? The burning of fossil fuels for vehicle power. Now, there's a lot of misinformation out there. The amount of carbon and other pollutants that come out of personal vehicles is, as it was explained to me, nearly inconsequential compared to other vehicles like ships, like the big container ships or cruise ships, or even some of the larger planes. So like, what was it? I thought I heard something, and correct me if I'm wrong, people. One of our leaders taking one of their private jets will put more pollution into the air than everybody that was on that plane driving a car for their entire life or something like that. But on the other hand, do we have to worry about getting rid of all pollution, or is it a give or take? So let's say a third of the pollution that is causing global warming comes from personalized vehicles. If 80% get replaced with electric vehicles because it's cheaper in the long run and they last 2 to 3 times as long, or even easier to repair, like who knows where it's going to go. Like this is like the old steamer version of a car compared to where it's going to be when the Ferrari comes out. Like if you do that.
The EV Ferrari?
Well, I think there is an EV Ferrari.
No shit. Is there?
Well, there's an EV Porsche, and I think it's their fastest car or something like that. The Taycan or something. Anyway, but the difference in technology between what we have now and what we'll have in 5 years will be so significant. Easier to replace, easier to modify, significantly longer range, faster to charge, more technology. And then here's what some people are forgetting. AI chips are getting better. Did you see where Microsoft, I think it was, showed off a desktop-sized quantum computer?
No.
Yeah. Room stable. It looked like a NVIDIA 490 size card or something.
And it was a quantum computer?
Yeah, it was a quantum computer.
What makes a quantum computer quantum?
That's beyond me. But with that kind of stuff, the error correction, the ability to calculate, if that keeps getting smaller, could they put one of these in a car, let the AI run off of that to figure out how to drive it? Will that be, or will one of these chips the AI is designing be the thing that gets it from, that's like, I don't know if you've seen the videos of the robo-taxis, like having some serious issues that Tesla put out. Mm-hmm. But, if you think about if we can tenfold the computing power of these things and include more sensors and have more data analysis and better data analysis and better decision making, which is going to happen, then how far until self-driving becomes just reasonable? And then I always go back to the sidewalk jaywalking argument with this kind of stuff. Like, the way it was explained to me was the reason we have sidewalks is too many people are getting run over by like steamer cars back in the olden days. So that's why they created sidewalks, is to have a designated place that made it safe for people to cross the road while these idiots in cars had trouble controlling them.
Fair enough.
And that's why we still have them today, for the exact same reason. If you walk out in front of a car, they can't just stop on a dime. You're going to get squished. Having designated, well, there's going to have to be some equivalent for laws of like, these lanes are for AI powered cars, or you have to have this technology on it so that it can work. Like,
there'll probably be levels of like certifications for your car. Like, you have to have your red tag and your blue tag to travel on this road.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Or your pass.
There's so many different regulations.
There's already roads lined up for autonomous driving. There's going to be lanes at some point once it's proficient enough and significant volume enough. Our laws and our requirements will change based on the needs of society. So that's just a matter of time. I just don't know if that's like 5 years or 20 years at this point. But I do know the growth of technology is exponential. We're on the higher end of that curve. So cars are quickly getting replaced as the reasons not to get significantly reduced with all these new nuclear reactors and reinforced power grid, range anxiety going away, charger stations everywhere. Like, it's going to happen. The movement's already shifted. These cars that are hydrogen powered are just funny. But anyway, like, we're moving that direction already. And then as more and more online comes into place and it becomes more common to do things remote, there's less of this other stuff. And then carbon capture is becoming a real big thing. There's numerous different suggestions on that kind of stuff. So mobile transportation, commercial transportation, and then heating and cooling are the other ones, right? So heating and cooling is huge. Keeping your fridge cold, or keeping your house cold, or keeping your house warm, and your stove are your biggest uses of energy. If we eliminate those and put them on nuclear only, or some kind of renewable energy source as the predominant for everybody, because we could run a nuclear reactor in middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and have it supply power all the way up to Ohio or whatever, because the power grid can redistribute, right? The need for the fossil fuels goes away. Like, it's already in a state that most coal mines in the U.S. would close. This is what I understood. Most, if not all, coal mines in the U.S. would close if they weren't government subsidized in order to keep up the aesthetic, because we don't need them for heating. Now, there are places in the world where they've decided to open coal-fired plants in order to try to quickly match the power needs of that area. But if we can mass produce and deploy a reasonable number of nuclear reactors and other renewable energy sources across the U.S. and across the world, like, that'll just win out and the coal-fired plants will go away, because coal is not sustainable from a long term. It's a limited resource, it's hard to get, and it's expensive compared to what we can do with other stuff. And now with the new molten salt battery, the new mine battery, which is really cool. I don't know if you heard about that. They're taking old mines that have significant vertical shafts, putting a pulley system up there and attaching it to motors, and then putting a very heavy weight on a very solid chain or rope or something, and letting that weight, like a pulley system, go down. So if you imagine a pulley at the top, you have a weight going, a line over a weight. As the gravity pulls the weight, it spins that. You can connect a generator to it with a gear ratio that makes sense, and it would generate power from the kinetic force of the weight going down based on gravity. So we're turning gravity into power. When you have, and that's to generate power out of the mine when there's a power, when you don't have enough power in the area. And then during the day, renewables can put power into it. Another motor runs and pulls the weight back up the shaft. And they're starting to deploy this all over the place, which is awesome. I think it's so cool.
All right. That was almost about the extreme heat wave. That was close. That was close.
Well, so my point was, so carbon capture is becoming more common. they're already prototyping out some blocks that you can build houses with and print that captures carbon and turns it into a more solid form of the brick or whatever it needs to build houses. There's numerous other things that are coming online for carbon capture, but planting trees and getting greenery back up is the most proficient way to do it. And as we don't need farms to grow food, and we start growing it in 3D underground vertical farms with AI doing it, we don't need these fields. We can start repopulating that stuff with plants, and that'll start capturing carbon. There's ways to offset this, and there's ways to turn around. But
let's do a specific episode on that stuff. Let's stick to this. Let's talk about the Border Patrol crackdown and what's going on in the immigration debate. What are you seeing all these viral videos that are coming out of these Border Patrol people?
You mean ICE or Border Patrol specifically?
I guess ICE is Border Patrol, aren't they?
Technically.
Same shit.
They're immigrations and custom enforcement, ICE.
What do you think that we're pulling their status, their legal status, and then we're arresting a lot of them?
I think it's horrible.
Yeah.
I think
some of these videos that I've been watching, they're in like churches and food trucks. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well,
these are not, they said they were going to go after the criminals. That's what they said. That's what everyone that is MAGA in my life is saying. They're just getting the criminals. Are you watching fucking TV?
It was reported on the news. 64% of those arrested had no criminal history.
64%
have no criminal history. And if they have no criminal history, how can you denote any kind of like gang affiliation or whatever?
64% is most. That's not criminals. Our government is acting in a criminal way.
And taking away legal statuses of people who went through the proper channels to be here legally and deporting them, beating them, torturing them, abusing them, shaping them into countries that they have no affiliation, no connection, no resources, taking their money, taking their resources. It's in a lot of ways, in some of these cases, and I'm not saying every case is this way, but in some of these cases, it's literally kidnapping.
Yeah.
And it's human trafficking.
And they're not even identifying themselves in certain cases. Did you see that Afghan refugee that had worked with our military during the Iraq War get arrested without the cops didn't show any ID? They didn't even check his ID. They didn't even know if he was the right guy. They didn't know who he was.
Was it a mayor or a governor, something like that?
Senator Padilla in California, when he got roughed up trying to ask Pam Bondi a question?
No. There was another guy. I want to say it was like a mayor or governor or something. He
was a controller.
Court. Yeah. He went to an immigration like that
to observe,
and multiple people have been arrested and detained and then released. And there's a lot of question about the legality of that and what role they have. There's things like there's literally constitutional law about illegal search and seizure, and they're breaking all that stuff. Trump signed an executive order, which, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I'm not a legal expert, is illegal. That's told ICE to go start kicking in doors to houses without warrants, searching their stuff, taking their stuff, and to arrest people. And there's been multiple reports of these ICE agents breaking into a house without doing their due diligence to find out if anybody's there, stealing shit and walking out and saying oopsies, or shooting people, or beating people up, or strip searching them. Like, this is...
You know what gets me the most about everything that's happening right now in America is when I see like a wife or a child and they're describing the story like they just came in and they grabbed my dad and that's it. And now I'm with whoever these people are.
And I don't care what Bondi and Nomi and all those say. Like, this to me, this is my opinion. This is SS, Gestapo, Nazi crap.
I agree with you 100%. This is exactly that.
As far as I'm concerned, they're violating the Constitution. They're violating their oaths. They're violating everything to physically assault and abuse people that are trying to do the right thing in our country. Now, are they catching criminals? Well, if 64% aren't, then it means 36% are. Yeah, but are we emptying prisons out or are we attacking churches?
But me personally, let's talk about the 36% of criminals. Let's talk about those 36% of criminals. I don't even feel like we should deport all of them. I still want to know what those crimes were. If there's 36% of them, they're all charged with like petty larceny, shoplifting. I don't want to deport you for that. I don't care personally.
The biggest issue, like, I don't know how to fight that one. Like, you're right. Like, somebody comes here, wants to do a good thing, gets into a fist fight, or maybe they shoplift a little bit, but then they became a good citizen. Like, there's latitudes on that. If they're gang members and they're hunting down, killing people and selling drugs, that's a whole different ballgame. if they're here illegally and doing that kind of stuff, I don't know that I'm as upset about that. But the principle of the thing's the part I'm worried about. So this is something that was argued very heavily, is if they can deport him without due process, without checking who they are, they can just grab you up because of the color of your skin or because they think you're something and deport you, and then go in front of the Supreme Court and lie their asses off and go in front of other judges and tell them to F off. And they're going to do whatever they want. They're just going to do whatever they want, even though they've been proven wrong. And this is unconstitutional, illegal, blah, blah, blah. And they just go, I don't care. And you got Pamela Bondi standing in front of the Trump and the cabinet going, you don't have to worry, guys. You can do whatever the hell you want. Nothing's going to happen to you. It's broken.
Yeah.
But an American or somebody that's not a criminal being deported without due process is significant. And this is the slippery slope argument that a lot of people are making, which is, you may be okay with them deporting a multi-murder, crack-dealing MS-13 guy.
Me too!
But the same policy of don't ask, beat the shit out of, and deport to a gulag is being applied to Americans and people that are here legally, and that's just fucked up.
Yeah. So if you're okay with it for the illegal immigrant, are you okay with that for your 12-year-old daughter?
And if she decides to post...
Let me know what you think in the comments about that
Trump, yeah. What happens? Guilty by Brown.
And the fucking MAGA argument, and I've heard it, I watch a lot of debates online, and I've heard it just from talking to people who are MAGA. Their whole argument for the deportation is, well, they came here, so they're a criminal by virtue for crossing the border. So because they're labeled a criminal by virtue for crossing an imaginary border, now you're a criminal and you deserve to be deported. I've heard that from a ton of people, and I think that is the stupidest fucking argument ever.
That are getting their visas and student...
Right. Asylum is a legal way of entry.
Green cards and all that kind of stuff revoked. Yep. They did it the right way. Why are we touching them? It doesn't...
And Abrego Garcia, they made shit up to pull him back. They made up charges.
That one, man, it bothers me a little bit that people aren't more upset about that. So we have an American citizen... He became legal, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong on that, but I don't know.
I've never heard that.
Now, well, maybe he's not.
He had legal status. He had protected status. He was overstayed a visa. I think is what happened. He overstayed a visa and he went back to immigration, to get it squashed, and they had removed his status after like 2019 or a while ago. They had said specifically that he can't go back to where they sent him. Like that was a ruling in the court.
And there were threats. But anyway, so the fact that they made up and our president went on TV and either told a mistruth that he believed or flat out lied. And I don't know which one it was because both arguments are wild. Yeah. Well, regardless of which one of those two is true, he did say something that has been proven wrong. He did say something that, from everything I've seen, is false. He lied either on purpose or by his misinformation, misunderstanding, regardless of... And honestly, while in my head that distinction's important, I think the American populace needs to go with, they took a person with no criminal record, to the best of my knowledge, deported him in the middle of the night, and then refused to bring him back until the Supreme Court got involved. And even then, they drug their feet and all this kind of stuff. And he reported back that, like, it was bad there. This is not to the standards of the U.S. And American citizens are getting put in there. So it's like, ugh.
And the whole charge that they tried to charge him with, the reason why they brung him back was all bullshit. I watched a bunch of legal analysis on their reasoning, and every lawyer that analyzed it was like, yeah, this whole charge is full of shit.
But I think it's important that everybody disassociates whether he is guilty or not from the fact that the administration's making things up. They didn't follow the law. They didn't follow due process. And they kidnapped and human trafficked a person within our borders without finding out what was going on.
More than one.
Regardless of if he did it, even if he beat his wife and shot the neighbor's dog, he didn't deserve that treatment. But if he's a good, upstanding American citizen, he doesn't deserve, you don't deserve that. That's not a thing that the U.S. should be doing. And it breaks the law. In my mind, is human trafficking. And the fact that U.S. agents are hiding their identities, not showing ID, not showing badges, is proof that they know that they're in the wrong. They just don't care.
That's un-American. I want to call that shit out. I think you guys are cowards. Every one of you ICE officials that wears a mask when you're going to take these people out there, when you're kidnapping American citizens, you're a fucking coward.
The mask is even less egregious to me than not having ICE or police or
plain
having
clothes,
a badge.
plain clothes, and a mask.
Not plain clothes. Like, if they want to dress up in tack gear, it better have fucking ICE on it, and their badge better be on there. Like, they should be armed up and identifiable easily, but not even telling people that they're pushing and beating up and pointing guns at that they are police officers is the violation in my mind. Now, my understanding is legally they're not required to, but it also, on the other hand, I think it should be legal for a U.S. citizen to beat the absolute shit out of them if they don't, and they start attacking people.
I think that too. Like, I have something inside of me that says, let's go to one of these things, these events where ICE officials are trying to do some illegal shit and just start shit. I'm not going to, but I have that spirit inside of me, and I know somebody else does. There's got to be a million other people thinking that. Like, this is bullshit. You're kidnapping my friends, my family, my dad, my daughter. You're kidnapping them.
Yep, slavery. It's tantamount to slavery. They're kidnapping somebody, putting them somewhere that they are not able to live by their will. I mean, isn't this technically the definition of slavery? So we are slaving American citizens, is what I'm hearing.
Well, let's get involved in the conversation, you guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Send us an email to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com and join the conversation. I would love to get someone on the podcast with a different viewpoint, and let's have a little debate. Help me understand why you think this guy is the hero of everything. I don't get it.
If you don't want to go to war, call your representatives. If you don't want Trump as president, call your representatives. If you don't want ICE invading people's homes without warrant, call your representatives. The way that we're going to get this done is either we guilt these fuckers into doing the right thing, or we kick them the hell out of office and put somebody in there with a backbone to do something.
I wonder where the MAGA party is sitting too. Is everybody on the MAGA side, or is everyone for the war in Iran or against? Donald Trump said he was the no new wars president, remember?
You didn't see MTG going nuts on the media talking shit about Trump and how this is all bullshit.
Do tell.
We don't want a war, and go look it up. She went on a tirade about how we should not be funding a proxy war on behalf of Israel against Iran. And she ripped into it hard. And people are like, this is the voice of reason? What the hell's happening to our country? How is it Major Taylor Greene saying something right?
Here's the video.
Yeah. This is the... All right, so there's two hats here, right? One hat is, oh my God, MAGA is literally imploding. They are getting mad. They're yelling at each other. The party's blowing the hell up. Trump's losing his base. Trump's losing his supporters. Trump's losing control. Like, she may decide to say, screw it, and go in on impeachment against him. Who knows? Like, based on this rhetoric, I would not say it's out of the realm of possibility that she votes to impeach him.
That would be crazy. On the other
hand, how much of this is show? Will she actually get her duck in a row? Does she think her political career will end if she goes against him? These are all the points that she'll have to weigh, but And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If a group of MAGA decided that this guy can no longer be their orange god and says, we need to get MAGA straightened out so that we don't get absolutely decimated in the midterms, let's start getting our shit back together and let's ostracize him, let's impeach him, get Vance to play ball, work within the group, keep moving the 2025 agenda forward, but get rid of the problematic bastard dementia fuck in the office by impeachment the legal way. If Taylor and Johnson and all these guys just said, to hell with this, and they aligned with the Democrats, put that son of a gun out, impeach them, and then charge them and jail them, man, that would go a long way to saving and promoting the Republican Party for generations. If they don't, this might be the death knell right now.
Ooh, that's grim. Well, let's leave it there. Subscribe to Almost Above Average anywhere you get your podcast. Almost Above Average is looking for sponsors, pro-democracy sponsors. So please send me an email to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com. I would love to collaborate with some pro-democracy sponsors for sure. I fund this whole thing by myself, guys, so please hit like, hit subscribe, and share it with everyone. Give me a little break here.
This is a good point. I want to do this. We do this because we believe it's the thing we need to do. We want to talk and say our piece. We are American citizens. who are suffering under the tyranny and the totalitarianism and the craziness. And we're scared for our friends. We're scared for our family. We're worried about our neighbors. Like, we have friends at the gym. We're truly worried that they're going to get iced.
Mm-hmm.
We worry about where's the economy going? Are we going to be able to feed our kids long term? Are we going to be able to provide? What the hell's going to happen to our country? Are we going to war? These are all the things that other Americans do, and we're on here talking about it because we care and we want to talk about it with you guys.
And we are a part of you. We're two frustrated Americans, and we just decided that we are so frustrated we're going to do something about it, and we want to bring as many people on this journey that we can.
And we're not left-wing nut jobs. Like, I think both parties are horrible in their own way.
Yeah.
I just want America to be a good, safe place for the future generations. And I think everybody else does too. Everybody, both sides of the fence wants that. So let's talk through some common sense and get rid of these assholes.
I agree with that. Well, until next time, maybe we can write a cool sign-off later.
For the people, by the
We'll think of
people. Call your legislators, call the locals, do the right thing. Do your research on their voting habits before you vote for them.
And have a great day and be blessed. Bye.
God be with us.
All right. See you, bud.
Thanks for tuning in to Almost Above Average. If you found value in today's conversation, please subscribe, leave us a like, and drop a comment to let us know what you think. Share this episode with a friend or family member who's ready for a deeper look at the issues that matter. And we're always looking to improve, so send your feedback to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com with the subject feedback. Your voice helps us grow and keeps the conversation going, and we appreciate you for listening, and we'll catch up with you next time. Now stay almost above average.
Everyone I love around me, I'm right where I wanna be. Got every single thing that I need, I'm right where I wanna be. I'm right where I wanna be. I see the signs they're all the time, they're happening more each day. They let me know that I'm doing alright if I just keep my faith. It doesn't matter what you think or you say, they're gonna hate you anyway. And if I didn't get to earn your respect, I guess it's just gonna have to wait. 'Cause I'm right where I wanna be. Got every single thing that I need, I'm right where I wanna be. Got everyone I love around me, I'm right where I wanna be. Got every single thing that I need, I'm right where I wanna be. I'm right where I wanna be. And I still can't sleep without your warm arms around me. And it's hard to breathe when I'm not in the same state you found me. Sleep inside me wasn't something I did. I got my head in the clouds, my heart is stuck in the wind. And if I had to walk away from this shit, you'd probably follow me, 'cause I'm exactly where I wanna be. I'm right where I wanna be. Got every single thing that I need, I'm right where I wanna be. Got everyone I love around me, I'm right where I wanna be. Got every single thing that I need, I'm right where I wanna be. I'm right where I wanna be. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. My name is Chris McIntyre. Thanks for listening.